Okay, we've finally finished 3 rounds of the AFL season now, which has things hotting up a bit in the Brownlow, and we're getting a bit of consistency on some of the leaders, continuing to poll well. Massive game was the Geelong-Collingwood game, of course. Joel Selwood in and under with 22 handballs. He definitely polls in this game. Hard to know if he clearly gets the 3. I thought young Elliott from Collingwood might worry him out of the 3, actually, and Stokesy was very good for Geelong, but Joel certainly in the votes once again. Dogs Richmond, we saw future superstar and young McRae from the Dogs. Clearly best man on the ground in that game, and I think you'll find that he gets the 3 votes there, so great to see a young fella coming through. Hawthorn Freo, Sammy Mitchell back in form, massing possessions. I noticed that he started in the middle of the ground at most of the centre contests, and I feel that with Suckling back, he's playing a lot more in the middle now, Sammy Mitchell. So I feel that he's vying for the 3 there, and of course, Cyril Rioli stood out in a major way in that game as well, so I thought he quite possibly polls. Adelaide Sydney Swans, yeah, great win by the Swans. Luke Parker, I thought, was the best man on the ground. Hard to know whether that correlates into 3 votes. Big Buddy, the Boom $10 million recruit, I think Buddy's in the votes. Kicked 4, dished some off, and was a very lively player up forward. So I feel that Buddy's in the votes as well in that game. Noting that Paddy Dangerfield, we've played 3 games now, and I don't think he's in the votes at all. So that's interesting to note there. Gold Coast Brizzy, the little master Gary, will lock in the 3 once again. So he's on 6 votes now. No two ways about it, because when he's hot, he's really hot. So Gary, another 3 votes up there. Some of their emerging stars in Dion Prestia and young David Swallow, I think, will feature in the minor votes. West Coast St Kilda, Big Dean Cox, the best man on the ground there, in my opinion. I thought Joey Montagna played a really good game, and young Dunstan from the Saints, but pretty clearly Coxie. Pritis had the most positions for West Coast, and I feel that he can feature potentially in the minor votes. Another win for the young fellas, GWS. I thought they were led by Big Shane Mumford. I feel that he'll be very hard to toss for the 3. Treloar, great player, had a huge amount of possessions, kicked a good goal as well, so I think he's featuring in the votes as well. The North Melbourne win over Port, good for North, obviously, to have a win again. Nicky Del Santo, I thought, was very influential. Very hard game to work out who gets the 3 there. I thought Nicky Del is certainly in the mix from North. They had a couple of their younger fellas in Levi Greenwood and co. Get a lot of possessions and play well. But Nicky Del right in the mix. I thought Travis Boak from Port, he can open his voting account this year with some votes in that game. I thought he was a really solid contributor. In the Essendon and Carlton game, which rounded things out, was some of the Essendon lesser lights to feature in Heath Hocking, young Merritt, Chappie kicking his goals. They're the ones to keep an eye on in the vote. So just checking I didn't miss any games. No, so all in all, wrapping up, Gary, doing really well. 2 best on ground so far this year. Joel Selwood, of course, potentially in the votes all 3 games. So those 2 are sort of clearing out a little bit from some of the others. But all in all, looking forward to round 4 when we roll again on Friday night footy from the MCG.